Hello everybody, it's Leah, and as promised, this is my follow-up to bariatric surgery. Now I know it's been a hot minute, but let me tell you, it has been a roller coaster. We've had a few complications, and well, before I get into all of that, why don't we just take you back to our surgery date of June 20th. I'll roll that footage right now. It's surgery day.
What's happening?
It's too early. It's 6:50.
Oh. I know. Not used to seeing this hour of the day. You are, though.
That's true. Anyway, yeah, we're going in. We're going to have surgery. I don't know what I can film in there. When we were in there the other day, all their signs were like, no filming, no cameras, no blah, blah, blah.
Wear your mask. Shut up.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Take a number. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to film in there or not, but we'll keep you posted. See you on the flips. Maybe
Posted.
before the flip side,
Posted.
but we'll keep you posted.
Posted.
Okay. I feel like I'm at the DMV. There's no filming signs in here, and Wayne and I are the only ones in here, so here we are.
Texting, filming.
Breaking the rules.
Breaking the law.
Anyway, we're all gowned up and ready to roll. I guess we got to get an IV started and that sort of, I don't even know where I'm looking. Last night I slept so horribly. Oh, God. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But we're here. We're ready. We have our hat, our jaunty little hat. And yeah. We'll check back in later. Hi everyone. Checking in today, yesterday, June 20th, surgery day, right? Why do you look like you're in your work clothes, and why, what's going on? Well, guys, the last clip I showed you, I was all ready to roll. They started the IV even, and 15 minutes prior to surgery, one of the nurses comes in and says, "We've got to cancel." I was waiting for the punchline. I was seriously waiting for the punchline. It never came. It turns out there was a piece of equipment, their backup equipment, I don't know, didn't get any technical terms or anything, and that was malfunctioning. So they didn't find that out until their previous case. About halfway through that case, they found out they had a problem. Fortunately for that patient, nothing went wrong and they didn't need that equipment, but they did not want to risk that going further through the day. So they canceled my surgery. Oh, Lord have mercy. As you can imagine, I was devastated. And that's why I didn't record yesterday. I was exhausted, number one, and then the disappointment of having your surgery canceled. I don't know. I think I was in shock. I was definitely having some sort of breakdown. But my surgeon and his team worked their heinies off yesterday, trying to get me rescheduled as soon as possible, and which they managed to do. They rescheduled for this Thursday, God, I was just going to, like, I'm going to have to wait another 3 months. I'm going to have to, it was just devastating. So I am rescheduled at a different hospital on Thursday, the 23rd of June. Once the dust settled and I got myself together, I realized why. Well, I realized that everything happens for a reason, and I wasn't meant to have surgery that day. And I was so grateful that I had a doctor that put my safety and my well-being before just trying to push something through, make it happen, and potentially having a poor outcome. And so, so that's that. So we're back to work for a few days, and then we will be having surgery at 12 noon on Thursday. And oy vey, what an emotional roller coaster that was. Crazy. So anyway, guys, that's the update. The journey continues, and we will see you Thursday when we check in for surgery. I'm a little medicated. I'm not as fabulous as after shoulder surgery, but I am good. I feel really good. They said it went really well, and I am ready to start my new life. There's Wayne. They haven't kicked him out yet. They changed policies today because of COVID, no visitors. But they said he could come up for an hour after I got to my room. But he's been here too. But then everybody here has just been so nice and professional and helpful. And I've had some pain from the gases, actually in my shoulder blades, not in the front of my shoulders, but in the back. But I went for a walk. I've already been for a walk around the block here, and that helped a lot with that. So if you're having surgery and you are having that pain after surgery, tell them you want to get up and move, because I'm telling you, it helped immensely. Is that a word?
It is.
Is it the right word? I don't know.
It is.
Everybody, I can't say enough about this facility. They've been awesome. This is a brand new hospital, Northern Nevada Sierra Medical Center, and it's beautiful. It's still got that new car smell. Doesn't it, honey?
It does.
It really does.
It does. It's got the look of it, the smell, the feeling, the vibe.
Yeah. And so should only have to spend the night. My oxygen levels have been good. I'm sipping water, taking my medication now slowly. I kind of learned that really quick. Sip, sip, sip. Can't drink too much at once. And but I feel so much better than I thought I would at this point. I'm sure tomorrow I'll be a little more sore with my abdomen, but well, yeah, because I'm on pain medication, so that's a thing. But not too much. I really don't want it. I don't need it, and I'm trying not to do that as much as possible. So anyway, I just wanted to check in and apologize for not checking in pre-op. I got here. It was just kind of shocking because they had changed the policies today, so I had to go back by myself. I couldn't have any family with me back there, and they just didn't waste any time, so didn't even have time to get my phone out and say hi to you guys. But I'll do more when I get home, and until then, I'll check in with you tomorrow too and let you know how I'm feeling day 2 post-op. But so far, so good. I feel so good about this. I really do. And me missing surgery on Monday, I think I know was a blessing in disguise, for sure. I think I dodged a bullet on that one. But I'll get more into that later. But for now, love you guys, and I will see you real soon. Bye. So everything went really, really well. Got discharged the next morning, and then went home, had dinner that evening. Everything was fine. Went to bed, no pain medication. Got up the next morning, and things started to feel a little off. Like I tried to have breakfast, and it felt like it wasn't moving, like it was stuck. So got out my little brochure that they gave me, my little pamphlet, and was reading about what to do. And they said that usually happens if you try to eat too fast or you try to eat too much at one time. And I knew that wasn't the case because it took me over 30 minutes, probably closer to an hour, to eat that little bit of breakfast that I had. So I knew I wasn't eating too fast or too much. So, but I followed what it said. And if you have experiences to get up and move, walk around, and it'll help it push it through. And that's what I did, but it didn't seem to help. Later that afternoon, I know this may be TMI, so if you're not into this kind of stuff, sorry, turn it off. But things started to come up, for lack of a better word. And I don't use the word vomit or throw up because it wasn't like that. I wasn't nauseous. It just was coming out. And I don't even know how to explain it, but it was happening more frequently. And I was like, well, maybe, Wayne's like, well, maybe we should go back to the hospital. And I'm like, well, let's give it a few minutes to see. Maybe I did eat something too fast. But it kept going, and it was happening more frequently. And I finally that evening gave in and said, okay, let's go back to the hospital. And we went back to the facility where I had surgery. We didn't go to my local hospital because I thought, well, they won't know what I've been through, so let's go back to the facility where we had the surgery. We went in, and they could see that I was not keeping anything down for very long, and the doctor said we need to do a CAT scan and find out what's going on. So after the CAT scan, she came back and she said, well, you do have a small umbilical hernia, and it appears that your bowel is trapped and you have a total bowel obstruction. And so I'm calling the surgeon, and we need to get you into surgery tonight for emergency surgery. And, it's a really easy surgery. It's no big deal. And we'll get this going. And so they did. And the anesthesiologist came in to talk to me. And I expressed my concern over the fact that I couldn't keep anything down, and I was concerned about aspiration. And she said, yes, that's a very valid concern, but we're going to secure your airway, we're going to do this and that, and we're going to make sure that this doesn't happen. And I said, okay. And as soon as they wheeled me into the operating room and laid me down, I sat right up and I said, get me a bag, because it's coming up. And so they started moving really quick to expedite the surgery, and I woke up from surgery and I had this horrible cough, and I was coughing. And I said, what is this? I didn't have a cough before I came in here, and I can't stop coughing. And they said, oh, you're just getting the anesthesia out of your system. Don't worry about it. And, okay, so they took me back up to the surgery floor for recovery, and I kept coughing and asking for cough medicine, and they would give me lozenges. And, I just thought that's what it was, that I was getting the anesthesia out of my system. At about 3 o'clock in the morning, again, they wouldn't let Wayne in at all this time, and it was pretty late at night. So he had waited in the parking lot until I got out of surgery, and then once he knew I was safe, went home. But about 3 o'clock in the morning, everybody started rushing in, and the bells are going off and the whistles are blowing, and they said, we need to get you to ICU. Your oxygen, we can't control your oxygen levels, and your blood pressure is dropping, and turns out you aspirated during surgery, and apparently you have aspirational pneumonia. Yeah, that was a thing. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I was thinking about COVID and they're going to intubate me, and I was freaking out. And they said, no, it's okay. We're just going to take you down. We're going to just observe you, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got down there and they put me on 55 liters of high flow oxygen. I mean, I was feeling horrid, actually. I was just feeling, I will insert a picture here of me in the ICU right about this time. So I was in ICU for about 4 or 5 days. I'm not really sure, but the pulmonologist would come in. They would do chest x-rays every day and check on my lungs. And I said, so what is this telling you? He goes, that your lungs are pretty shredded. He goes, but that's expected, and it's going to take a long time for them to clear up. So this is just going to be a long, long recovery. I'm like, great. So finally, they felt comfortable enough to send me home on oxygen. I was on oxygen 24/7, and I'm off of it now, though. But they finally sent me home, and I was just a sick puppy. I had no energy. I couldn't walk across the room. It was hard for me to get to the bathroom. I was just whipped, man. And so July 11th, I started having difficulty breathing again, and I was having trouble keeping my oxygen levels back up, and I was coughing again and the whole 9 yards. So we decided to go to the emergency room at our local hospital. I went in, and they weren't pleased. So they admitted me. I was there for a week until they could get my oxygen stabilized and my blood pressure stabilized. And let me just say, nobody in a hospital knows a newly bariatric patient diet. And the food it was just, they puree everything, which is what you're supposed to do. But they puree like beef and chicken and pork and that kind of stuff. And then they put it in a mold so that it resembles what it was originally supposed to look like. Like, that's going to make me think I'm not eating a pureed chicken. It was tolerable when it was hot. But how often do you get hospital food that's hot? And when you're a bariatric patient and you're eating and you're taking a bite every minute, it cools down rapidly. And once it was cold, it was not edible. So I was not eating a whole lot either. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, so I was discharged. I believe I was in there for a week, and they discharged me to home. And still I went home. I had no energy. I was coughing. My oxygen, I'm wearing oxygen. I had to up it. And it was just, I was miserable. And then on, July 11th. No, that was July 11th. July 28th. I started to get that feeling again, like things were sticking, and I don't know, it just wasn't right in my digestive tract. And I knew I was going to throw up, and and I threw up. And TMI, I know, and it's gross, but I was throwing up pure blood. Not bloody whatever, pure blood. And I hollered for Wayne, and he was like, we need to go back to the hospital. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I said, but let me go get my teeth brushed and go to the bathroom and put on some clothes and that sort of thing. Because if you know me, I am one of those people that when I go to the emergency room, I am fully dressed. I am not one of those people that show up in their pajamas. And I know you all know those people. You may be those people. There's nothing wrong with those people. But for me, I am going to be hair done, makeup done, my clothes on, and I'm going to go in there. But I got into the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, and now I am, again, TMI, I am pooping blood. Sorry, I know that's gross. And I am just rapidly becoming weaker and weaker. And I'm sitting on the toilet, and I'm like, I can't get off of here. And I know I'm not going to make it to the hospital. And I know I'm not going to be able to walk to the car, or even I'm done. I sat on that toilet and I was done. I couldn't move, and I yelled for Wayne, and I said, I think you're going to have to call 911. So for me, who goes, to the ER dressed in deodorant and toothbrushed, for me to allow paramedics into my home to get me off of a toilet with my pants around my knees, there's something wrong. I couldn't, and I didn't care. And my whole house is full of firemen and paramedics, and I did not care that I was sitting on a toilet. Anyway, took me to the hospital and started prepping me for blood transfusions, and called the gastroenterologist because they needed to find out where I was bleeding from. And fortunately, he was actually passing through the emergency room as they were trying to call him. So he was right there, and within an hour they had done an endoscopy and found out that where they had attached my stomach to the small intestine, I don't know. I had an ulcer, or he said I was spewing blood. That's all I know. So they went in, they cauterized it, gave me some units of blood, and I was there for 4 days while they got my blood counts a little higher and let me go back home. I, again, just was not well. I was so weak, so out of it. It was just, I couldn't really eat anything. I had no appetite. I didn't want to eat. It was not good. It wasn't good. And then on August 3rd, started having that feeling again. And again, I started vomiting blood. And so back to the hospital we went, and did another endoscopy, got more units of blood, and the gastroenterologist told me, he goes, this, sometimes people have to have this cauterized up to 10 times. And I was like, oh, Lordy. Fortunately, this time when they cauterized it, I haven't had any bleeding issues since. Everybody, yeah. So that was a good thing. Was in the hospital again, another 4 days, getting blood transfusions, waiting for my blood waiting for my blood counts to come up. And yeah, came back home, and then I was doing somewhat better, but on the 26th of August, something like that, well, days previous to that, I was noticing that every day I was gaining weight. And there was no way I knew I wasn't gaining weight. But I was gaining like a pound a day. And my legs were swelling more than usual. Now, for those of you that have followed my journey for a while, you know I have lymphedema in both legs. And I thought, it's just my lymphedema acting up. And so I called the doctor, my primary care doctor, and I said, hey, would you consider giving me some diuretics? My lymphedema, my legs are swelling, I'm gaining weight every day. And, they had given me diuretic in the hospital and it really helped. And he said, no. He said, but you can go to the ER. I literally burst into tears. I literally became hysterical and thought, I can't do this. I can't do this again. But I knew I had better be compliant. So we tootled off to the emergency room, and fortunately it was one of the doctors that I knew pretty well, and she was like, well, I'm sure it's your lymphedema, but we'll run all the tests, we'll do all the things, and make sure it's nothing ugly, and then we'll get you home tonight. And I was like, perfect, great. So they did the ultrasound, and she came back and she said, well, funny thing is you have DVTs in both calves. DVT is a deep vein thrombosis. It's a blood clot. And the course of treatment for blood clots is usually blood thinners. But since I'd had GI problems and bleeds, they didn't want to do that. So they contacted an interventional radiologist that deals with these things and will either, they can suck out the blood clots, I don't know, or they can put in filters to block the blood clots from going up to your heart and killing you, or going to your lungs and causing pulmonary embolism, and I don't know, all that stuff. Anyway, he didn't really want to do either one of those things. He said with the position of both of these DVTs, they were not easy to get to. And he said, and the filter can come with complications, and I really don't like doing that. And I was like, enough said. And he said, so what we're going to do is call in the gastroenterologist again. We'll do another endoscopy, number 3, and we will see if your bleed has resolved and what they think about giving you blood thinners. So they did that. The gastroenterologist said there was no active bleeding, and she felt comfortable at this point giving me blood thinners, and that she couldn't guarantee that it wouldn't start bleeding again, but weighing the options, they thought this was the best course of treatment. So that's what we did. And I'm still suffering with that today, but they did keep me in the hospital for 4 or 5 days, monitoring the blood thinners, making sure I wasn't bleeding, all of that kind of stuff, and then sent me home. And I'm still swelling a lot. I have an appointment on the 11th, November 11th, with the Vein, Nevada people that are supposed to help me come up with some solutions for this. I don't know. And then on the 14th of November, I have another endoscopy to make sure I'm not bleeding anymore and that that's all healed. And yeah, so that's the thing. I am back at work. I am off the oxygen, like I said. I think once the bleed resolved, I don't know, maybe my body was using so much oxygen to heal that or something. I don't know, but we are off oxygen. My oxygen levels are good. My blood pressure is good. All of my blood levels are good. So I'm back at work. I've been back at work for 3 weeks, and I've had stamina to get through a 10-hour shift, and it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. If we could just get these legs. My legs are killing me. I'm not going to lie. They hurt like a mutta trucka. Just because they're so swollen, I can't even bend them. And my mobility is not good. But we're going to figure it all out. We're going to figure it all out. But with that said, that was my roller coaster ride after bariatric surgery. But now I am 4 months out of surgery. July, August, September, October. 4 months out of surgery. I'm pretty much on a regular diet. I mean, I'm still only eating like a half a cup at a time. And sugar, we don't eat sugar or high fat things. So we can have 12 grams of sugar in any serving of food, because we don't want to get what they call dumping syndrome. And that they described to me, and it just didn't sound pleasant at all. So I have avoided that. I've got enough going on without having dumping syndrome. So I don't eat high sugar, high fat things. I still can't have steak for 6 months. When I'm 6 months out, I can have steak. So maybe Christmas, I'll have a little piece of steak. I'm so excited. Popcorn. Popcorn is the other thing I can't have. But other than that, I can eat almost anything I would like. I can't eat a whole bunch of it. But that was the whole point of surgery. When I started this journey, now a lot of insurance companies make you wait 3 months or 6 months before they'll approve surgery. They want to make sure that you have been to a nutritionist and you've been to the psychologist and you've lost 20 pounds or whatever they want you to do. And my insurance company made me wait a year. They made me be in a bariatric program for 1 year before they would approve surgery. And so, yeah, that was the thing. But from the time I started that program in May of 2021 until this moment, I have lost just over 100 pounds. So I'm very proud of myself. Right now, my scale is depressing and stalled because of the water retention in my legs, the lymphatic fluid or swelling from the DVTs. I don't know, but it is not budging the scale. But I know in my clothing, which is Gigantor, that I am losing weight. And I know I'm not eating enough to gain weight, so it's all good. I'm where I should be, and I'm happy about it. So with that said, I know this video has been a long time coming, and a lot of you have reached out to me, and I can't thank you enough for your concern and care and prayers, and I appreciate you all so much more than you can ever imagine, because this last 4 months has been a nightmare, and reading your comments and getting your messages has been monumental in getting me through all of this and keeping my spirits up and my positivity. So thank you. You all know who you are. I love each and every one of you. So with that said, I will continue to follow up on this journey, and I'll let you know what they say at the vein doctor, and I'll let you know what the endoscopy says, and I will keep you posted. I want to try to do updates at least once a month so that I can update my weight loss progress and my food progressions and things like that. And with everything that's happened, people say, gosh, Would you do it if you knew what was going to happen? And the answer is yes, I think I would. I know I would. So if you're considering having this procedure, don't listen to this video and make your decision. Make your decision based on your needs and your health and what's best for you. And just know that what happened to me is not the normal thing. It's not. So I love you all. I will see you real soon in the next video. And until then, bye.